Hello there everyone. I was cleaning my room today, which doesn't happen nearly often enough, and I ran across some things, some of which I even happened to be looking for, various projects and things like that that I'd left in varying stages of completion. One of the things that I hadn't even started on was this. See, back about a year ago, around November 30th, which is my birthday, and I'll be turning the big 29 this year, I was in Radio Shack shopping around for stuff, and I ran across these electronic kits. There were a couple of these that were offered, an AM/FM radio kit, an electronic cricket, and something to do with a USB interface for use with your personal computer that you could break out and do other things with. And I kind of wanted something like the USB kit. I thought that might be a lot of fun, although I've never been anybody's idea of a computer programmer, even though I've dabbled in it over the years. I ended up settling for this because it seemed like the most practical thing, and it was also one of the cheapest kits that they had on offer. So I asked for it as a Christmas present, and my dad actually got it for me. Well, I guess I was waiting for, as the old joke goes, next Christmas. Because I had never put this thing together, and I ran across it today. Well, that has now changed. I just decided to sit down while I was in the mood to repair stuff and build things. I actually started out working on this Audio-Technica Telemike microphone, which wasn't working at all properly. This has a battery in it for amplification purposes, and it's also a multi-mode microphone. It's really intended for video use, and that's why I have it, because one of these days I'll plug it into the Canon FS200 camera and go ahead and just see how well this thing happens to work. Some people really like it, some people don't. This was a lucky eBay find along with some other goodies. But as found, the switch was not working properly on it. It had dirty contacts, and it took me a while to figure out how you're intended to get this apart, because you can go ahead and I can't do this one-handed. There you go. So you can see you can get to the battery in here, but it really doesn't lead you any further toward getting at the circuitry, and of course you can't really get at the switch. The most you can see of the switch is through that small hole right there, and that of course just won't do. You don't want to spray contact cleaner randomly all over the insides of this thing, because you'd probably make it a lot worse than better. Taking this thing apart's not too difficult once you know the secret. You need to pop the little plastic thing off of the actual underlying switch here. Then you need to undo this screw up here, this screw down here. This metal collar stays put even though it looks like there's a separation. There really isn't. And then you press the switch down just enough while you pull this whole plastic tray, the part with the battery in it, out. And then the entire microphone is revealed, and you can do all the contact cleaning you want. You can also see the little amplifier circuit that they used. So when I got done with that, I went ahead and I built this little audio amplifier kit. And of course this thing, there's just nothing to this thing. It's drop dead easy to build, although my soldering iron quit me about halfway through soldering the IC. It just decided to stop heating, and I didn't notice immediately. So some of the soldering on the IC looks a bit clumsy, but the other parts all went in well. The little pins, which I thought were going to be a huge pain, they actually went in quite well. And then of course you can actually see the extent of my soldering works. Probably not the neatest soldering that you've ever seen, but it'll certainly do the job, or at least it looks like it should. I haven't actually tried this yet, so I'm going to hook it up to this major overkill power supply here. Use this speaker that my dad picked up out of the trash a couple of months ago. I've never tested it, so I have no idea if it works. It's just some cheap little Sony speaker, and hook this thing up and see if it plays. So let's find out. Look at that spaghetti mess. This is the only thing I really don't like about this little kit. They use these little pin-style connectors that you can see here, and the bad thing about those is there's just no breathing room if you want to run clip leads to everything. And I've got the speaker hooked up, got the audio input hooked up, plug it into the computer here in just a spell, and we'll see what happens. And here's everything powered up now. Got iTunes up on the screen, got the computer plugged in to the input of the amplifier one way or another. Let's just see what happens here. Now the operating voltage range for this little amplifier is anywhere from 6 to 15 volts DC, and it doesn't really seem to be asking for a lot of current. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. There's no volume control on it, so I have to use a volume controllable source. Not the highest fidelity result that I've heard, but not bad either.
It was a teenage wedding and